The state of the UK's roads are in quite the shape, aren't they? As in, utterly terrible. It's no joke, is it, at the moment? Let's take a deeper dive. What is going on with the state of the UK's roads? They are absolutely abysmal at the moment, aren't they? Now, I'm here in Cumbria, just up the road from where I live, on what would be a perfect cycling road. Normally. It's not normal, is it? Now, this is a country lane, which a cyclist would normally choose, or a bunch of cyclists, because it's off the main roads, away from traffic, quiet, beautiful, all of that. But as you see, it is covered in stuff. Mud, water, and underneath that water is potholes. They're everywhere, cracks in the road, potholes. Now, these are not getting filled. They are not getting filled in any way, shape or form. And this is something that we need to do as a collaborative effort to try and harangue, to try and campaign to get the councils to do something about this. Now recently, and more we see, accidents are happening on these roads because of potholes. As well as discerning and as aware as we can be as cyclists, you can't spot everything. And sometimes when a road, especially one recently, was fully covered in water and you ride through it at whatever pace, somebody locally hit that pothole and suffered quite serious injuries. And not only that, but cost them a lot of money in broken bike parts. It becomes especially a problem in winter when obviously the environment and the weather makes conditions much worse. And let's be honest, a lot more people, because of the state of the roads, are turning to indoor trainers like Zwift and Rouvy to get away from roads like this. Not just the temperature, because people don't mind the temperature generally. I'm moving on to my little handheld camera here just to give you an accurate close-up description of what's going on. Plus, I don't want to be leaving the tripod in the road. So let's show you here. Where would anyone cycle through there? Pick your way through. Now, it's not rained for a few days. Pothole, pothole, pothole. So who's to say that there isn't any more lying around under here? It's unusable, utterly unusable. To be honest, we all pay our taxes that go towards the maintenance of these roads. And where is that money going? Because it is clearly not being spent on the infrastructure that we need as cyclists and motorists and other road users. If someone wants to get in touch and tell me where this money is getting spent, a local council or someone from government, to put me in touch with someone who can explain what's going on and where all this money is going, I'd love to hear it from you, because this is not sustainable. What we can do about this is obviously we can report these to the council, which is what we all should be doing. We can all report these potholes to the council, and you can all go on your local council's website and there will be an area there. Obviously I can't point you to these. There'll be an area there where you can go report the potholes and exactly where they are. That's all well and good. And as you'll see from later on in the video, there are some that have been filled, but they don't do it very well on lots of occasions, or they just don't bother. I've just spoken to a farmer that's just come past me just prior to filming here, and there's one that I'll show you just down the road, which is enormous. And he told me that him and a lot of the residents just down in the village down there have been reporting it for months. Months. And you'll see from the state of it, it's appalling. Now, why is this? Why aren't they being filled? And why are the roads in such a poor state? And it's not just the potholes which is the issue. A lot of roads are being resurfaced and not really being resurfaced. They're just being scraped off, and then tar is being thrown on and covered in chip-ins. Now, as a cyclist, and as I'm sure you will agree with this, terrible idea. Basically, they're covering the roads in gravel and hoping that the cars do all the work for them, which results in a slippery surface, gravel everywhere. You get chip-ins all up in your face or on the front of your car, you get damage to your vehicle. It's just frankly dangerous. And then in 6 months' time, as has been seen locally, it's gone. There's nothing left of it whatsoever. One reason why people are going to wider, potentially tubeless tyres on lower pressures is to counter this. We shouldn't have to be doing these things, should we? We shouldn't have to choose a taller tyre or a wider tyre on lower pressures just to be able to ride without extreme discomfort. Now, this is the pothole that farmer has just mentioned. look at the size of it. It is enormous. Not only does it cover 60% of the width of the road, it is, God, what's that? 3-4 inches deep. And as you see, by the colour of the road, water covers this entire surface. So this is unavoidable. Now, a cyclist would see it when it's down here and then pop out into the centre of the road. There is still a huge drop off here, a sharp edge surface. That's terrible for car tyres. Guaranteed almost to give you a pinch flat or a puncture, damage your rim and potentially put you over the handlebars. If not, crash into others trying to avoid it. Welcome to Kirkstone Pass. Lots of you will recognise this place as it is a very, very busy road, iconic in the Lake District, and it's an iconic climb for lots of people. This is the Troutbeck side and gives a perfect example of the road surface here. Now, as you can see, this is quite the downhill. Sorry about the wind as well. It's the Lake District and I've decided to come at Easter when it's the most busy time in the world ever. Now you can hear the road surface. Not only that, but you can see it's covered in patches and bits, but this was resurfaced years ago and resurfaced in a way where it was just, again, chip and tar over the top of what was existing. And yet still, it's just falling everywhere. There's only so slow you can go down here because you're holding up traffic, for one, and it's a downhill. You shouldn't have to go slow on a downhill. You want the rewards for your cycling up the hill. Now, I've been down here many, many times, and you can see, potentially down the middle of here, there's a tiny, thin little patch that's usable, but that's not all the way down. It is an appallingly terrible surface to ride on. Not only that, but it's getting covered in more and more potholes, which, well, they're on blind corners. You come round, you can't see them coming, and you have to quickly dive out of the way. So again, it's just another example of patches of temporary fixes. You see just round the corner, there's a little bit of patch laid round there. That'll change the dynamic of the surface entirely when you're cornering, which you don't have an option to avoid. This is amusing. Temporary road surface. This is very, very funny. Why is it funny? This surface has been like this, as I say, for years. Not sure how long that sign's been there for, but this surface is not temporary unless the council's got some kind of weird definition of temporary, which means more than 3 or 4 years. So sometimes us cyclists and drivers report potholes through the correct procedures, through your council's websites and what have you, but sometimes they come along and repair a pothole and they do this. They just, what appears to be, throw massively uneven bits of tarmac down and don't even flatten it, because that can be almost as bad as a pothole in the first place because it throws you off entirely. It is just dreadful. Now let's not forget, a lot of these roads are national speed limit roads, so people are doing 60 mile an hour on them. You're gonna laugh when you see this. We start uphill, so we're coming down here. Yeah, coming down, so you're gonna be at a decent speed. First thing you see, pothole, that's gonna put you off. Pothole, other side of the road, let's have a look here. I need to cross anyway. Full of water and a couple of patches, so you don't actually know where any holes might be. I'm gonna come out of the way now. So let me come along a little bit further. So if there's any wind noise here. Cars are slowing down a lot to pass through here. So I don't know what you can see here, but all of this here, you're not going to be choosing to ride through that. There's a car coming. Let's just look. The cars are going down in the middle of the road. So I add another little one here. Now you have to excuse the busyness of this because it's a busy road. This is the A65, which is the main road between Leeds and Kendal. Well, in the Lake District. I came here specifically to show you this one. That's been repaired. That's actually been repaired, and it is terrible. I'm not sure what you can see there, but it goes downhill and then uphill again. So I'm just going to go home, and we'll have a little summary here because there's something that I would like to try and do, and I want to try and get you guys involved in this as well. Okay, so as I say, I'd like to do something with this. It's just what can we do? Obviously we need to, as cyclists, ride with due diligence, but then, as I say, need to point all of these potholes and road issues to the local councils, and we need to somehow stop them making roads out of chip and tar, because it is not a solution. They look at it as a temporary solution. It's a fix to an issue that exists, but it doesn't last. One of the roads that I've been on today, in the travels for making this video, it was relayed a couple of years ago with chip and tar. There was like a 5-mile stretch of it done, and 4 months later it was appalling. It was worse than before they'd resurfaced it. So nobody understands why they actually bothered doing it in the first place. Now obviously we can't expect all of the councils to relay all of the roads around all of the UK. That's not going to happen. But can we get some kind of coordinated effort towards pestering and leaning on the councils and the government to try and incentivise them to make the roads safer, because they're not safe, basically. Couple it with, let's be honest, the reduced standards of driving that's happening at the moment. I mean, the standard of driving is pretty terrible at the moment, and it's getting worse. And the attitude towards cyclists isn't helping at all, and we need to try and get a coordinated effort between all road users to try and get these roads better. In a perfect world, I'm going to get in touch with all of the cycling YouTubers that I know. Send me any more that you're aware of. If you want to broadcast this or publish something about this on your channel, or get in touch where we can do a coordinated, I don't know, we can call it some kind of campaign. I'd like to do this going forward, because I don't want this obviously to turn into a negative thing. I want to try and turn it into, let's make the roads better, not the state of the roads, as this is called. But it's an issue that needs massively highlighting, because it is not good at the moment, and I'm seeing friends getting hurt and injured, and it's costing them a lot of time and money and pain. People having time off work for this, and that costs the economy in itself, doesn't it? If you need time off for serious injury, not only is it a risk to life, but then it's costing you money, and it's costing your employers money, which comes out of the public purse at the end of the day. So, do you think we could get something coordinated? Get in touch, and we'll see if we can get something put together. And if someone wants to start something, get in touch, and we'll work something together. Because it can happen, and I'm sure we can get something done. Because we need to enjoy these roads. They're out there and waiting to be used. We just can't use them in the same way that we've been able to over the last number of years, because, well, as you see, they're getting worse, aren't they? They're getting much, much worse. Anyway, if you've got any ideas, and if you've got anyone that wants to get in touch, or if you want to get in touch with me, email address is along the bottom here. If you want to, please subscribe. Again, the numbers have been boosted a little bit recently. Please do subscribe, fire a comment away, just tell me any instances, send me any pictures of your issues, and we can get something worked, hopefully, towards a goal where we're all happy with the state of these roads. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. In the interest of balance, I've reached out to Cumbria County Council about this matter, and so far they've declined to comment, but of course if something does come up I will put it in a future video.